All right, we have some breaking news from the Miami Dolphins, and this was coming out sooner than we all expected, right? The Miami Dolphins have made their pick, and I'd like to hear your opinions on this one. With the 13th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Kenneth Grant, a Michigan defensive tackle for the Dolphins. Now, let me start off by saying this. With Grant, massive guy who can move and could really do damage to the offense. And the Dolphins is kind of in need of a defensive line tackle. They were in need of a defensive tackle, but they were also in need of an offensive line and the cornerback situation. I have confidence in the Dolphins. At least I think I have confidence. I don't know no more. That they're going to draft some of the O-line and the corners, because we definitely need a corner, because we don't know what's going to go on with Jalen Ramsey, and we especially need a proper replacement for Xavier Howard, who's been gone for a couple of years. But regarding Kenneth Grant, why is this a good choice? This is from Sports Illustrated. This article is written by Alain Poupart, if I said it right, Pelpart, who posted this roughly about 25 minutes ago. So I'm going to read off some of the highlights here. Dolphins' biggest need in the NFL is probably the defensive line, which, that's one of them. But I think the biggest need is the O-line, which, of course, Grier just refuses to acknowledge. He did acknowledge it, just not doing much about it, and that's incredibly frustrating. But the defensive part, I think Anthony Weaver would be happy. Dolphins selects Grant over potential targets like Texas cornerback Jahdae Barron, Mississippi defensive tackle Walter Nolan, or an offensive lineman like North Dakota State's Gray Zebel, or a wild card like Penn State tight end Tyler Warren. Regarding the tight end situation, I think we got one already. Jonnu Smith. I hope he's still with us. Jonnu Smith has been a really good tight end for the Miami Dolphins. We would love to have him to continue to be our star. There's a way the best move of trading down to accumulate draft board capital. Okay, we don't talk about this. Why Grant was a good choice. With Grant, the Dolphins got a prospect with a massive upside. A big man moves much better than anybody that size should. In some draft analysis, Grant was described as a prospect with the potential to become another player like New York Giants star defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. So they're comparing him to Dexter Lawrence of the New York Giants. Grant became the first defensive tackle the Dolphins select in the first round since 2019, Christian Wilkins. He was also selected 13th overall pick in that year. I think most people will remember Christian Wilkins. So this might be the Christian Wilkins replacement, if that's what they're talking about. Very well for that pick turned out very well for the Dolphins, and they can hope this one does as well. NFL.com draft Lance Zierlein, if I said it right, posted on social media Thursday that the Dolphins had their sights set on the best defensive tackle available, which made sense given the state of their roster. Before the draft, Dolphins had 4 defensive tackles on the roster: Zach Sealer, Benito Jones, Mac Dickerson, and Neil Farrell Jr. Grant figures to be a day one starter for the Dolphins with the possibility of getting a lot of playing time. So there's that. There's that as well with why the Dolphins selected Kenneth Grant. So there's that with this one. Regarding Kenneth Grant's profile, let's see what he has in store. Production score is 75 from the combine. Athleticism score is 68. Total score is 76. Prospect grade is 6.34. Who was drafted by the Miami Dolphins. College Michigan Wolverines. He won an NCAA championship there, right? Player bio in 2022, played in all 14 games as a reserve at 8 tackles. 2023 second team All Big Ten Conference, playing all 15 games with 5 starts for the national championship. 29 tackles, 5 fumbles, I think it says, with 3.5 sacks, an interception. 2024 third team Associated Press All-American, second team All Big Ten, started 12 games, 32 tackles, forced fumbles with 3 sacks. PBUs did not play in the team's Rayla Quest Bowl win over Alabama. The overview is Grant is a broad body nose tackle whose tape can run hot and cold depending on the game and the type of blocks he's facing. He struggles to anchor when the hit is down the block due to his narrow base and tall path, but he uses his power and length to beat single blocks and split double teams when he finds the crease. He has some sack productions in college, and we can use him improve. We could see him improve. Not we can use him. We can see him improve in the area code once he learns to create more rush space in his hands. Grant's game will finally come together in full when he's able to take his impressive physical attributions and impose his will on opponents. His strength, build on a broad chest, thick layers, long arms, capable of playing multiple spots and odds and even fronts, can absorb and split double teams when pad level right, possesses club strength to knock blocker off balance, good strike and extend with arm over release as a two-gapper. Put together solid performance in upset win over Ohio State. Bangs around heavy hands in the interior rusher. Those are his strengths according to NFL.com. His weaknesses: too often lacks implosiveness. I can't do it. For dominant early phase reps, plays with tightness in lower and narrow base. Has a tougher time growing roots against angle blocks, limited range and short area quickness as a tackler, and poor first step quickness to create advantages for his rush. That is according to NFL.com for Kenneth Grant. In terms of my opinion of what I think about this, like I said, we need an O-line, and we also need a corner, and we also need a defensive line. If you want to talk about defensive line, especially a defensive tackle position, Kenneth Grant might be that guy to fill in that role as Christian Wilkins had in years prior. I think this is a pretty good pick. I think this is a solid pick for the Miami Dolphins, but it's so bullshit. Not that he doesn't deserve it, Kenneth Grant, because he absolutely deserves it, and I welcome Kenneth Grant with open arms. Welcome to the Miami Dolphins. But we need a fucking O-line. We needed to protect Tua, and Chris Grier is still not providing that for Tua, and that's incredibly frustrating. Incredibly frustrating with Chris Grier, dude. It really is. But who knows? This might be a steal of the draft. They're thinking outside the box. This is what the Dolphins front office. They're going to think outside the box. The way that we least expected. They do this all the time. But I guess we'll see what happens. Kenneth Grant, welcome to the Miami Dolphins. You're going to do damage to the rest of the NFL. And I can't wait to see what you do in the field with the Dolphins, dude. But anyway, there you go. That's going to do it for this one. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content. And I'll see you guys in the next video for the Inter Miami game. This is Miami TVG sign off, folks. Good night.